It was a little bit expensive, but it was interesting enough that I mentioned it to a couple of clients. This really good client who's now become a really good friend of mine puts his hand up and says, I want the car. I go back to my friend in Japan and say, okay, I'll take the car. By the time he wakes up, he gets back to me, says, car sold. I called my friend who has the car. The car is sold, it's gone. And I text somebody like, he just said the car sold, and he calls me, dude, we have to get that car. We have to get that car, offer him more money. And I say to him, I say, look, man, like the Japanese don't usually work that way. If it's gone, it's gone. Like I'm willing to pay an extra 75 to get this car. And I say, that'll at least get his attention. So I go back to my friend in Japan and say, hey, we have a lot more money on this car. I will give you $75,000. And then there's silence. The Japanese no is usually silence. So I get silence for 2 days and I'm thinking, all right, I was politely told to pound sand. And then 2 days later, he pops up. The offer is accepted, your car. And so, I call my buddy, dude, we got it. We got it. We got it. He's over the moon. I'm over the moon. Everyone's hyped. But at that moment, it was a very strong price. Very, very, very strong price that had been paid for one of these cars. So we got the car at a time when shipping internationally, especially out of Southeast Asia, was just an unmitigated disaster, between $140,000 and $200,000 to fly a car. So we come up with a solution, which I'd done previously, which was, okay, let's ship the car to the West Coast, and then we can truck the car across. Why don't we just keep the car out for Monterey, use it as a Monterey rental car? Why not? It's already gonna be there. So I call up my friends at the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center and I say, hey guys, I have a car that's landing shortly. It's a AMG Hammer Coupe. It has been a few years since this car has been serviced, touched, looked at, anything. The car has been unseen for a while. This needs to be Monterey reliable. And they said, okay, let me get this straight. This car is arriving 2 weeks before the biggest car show of the year, where we are showing, I think, 7 cars. We, by the way, are opening our brand new facility the week before Monterey. You want us to fix this car? And I said, yes, please. No problem. We'll take care of you. All the while this is going on, there's another hammer. The Copenhagen hammer comes out of hiding, listed on MB Market. There were technical difficulties with the actual auction platform, because of demand, because of interest and demand on that car. So in order to rectify the situation, the MB Market guys effectively held a private auction for that car with a number of the finalist bidders. And in the end, a world record was set for a Hammer Coupe. That's going on. At the same time, this car is getting removed from its crate in the US and going to the Classic Center. The US Mercedes guys have no idea that this car is here. I haven't said anything to anyone about it. The owner hasn't said anything to anyone about it. The car is completely unknown. And then boom, it just shows up at the Classic Center. And next thing you know, things are, word is spreading like wildfire. Everyone's after the car, especially in the wake of what happened with the online sale. I got a good call from my buddy John. It says, hey, I understand that that you're responsible for that Hammer Coupe that's sitting at the Classic Center. I have a client who's very upset about the outcome of that online auction. He very much wanted that car. We'd heard about the existence of that car that you just brought in. The car was brought in my name. It was sent to the Classic Center under my name. As far as the outside world was concerned, it was my car. It wasn't my car. It was my client's car, even though, I still was holding the title for it and all of that. So I said, I really appreciate the interest, but the car belongs to a really good client. Let me see what he wants to do. And John throws out a number that was pretty staggering, but when you consider what had just happened online, wasn't so crazy after all. So I go back to my client and say, hey man, what do you want to do? And he agrees to sell the car. I purchased the car back. John sells it to his client, but I got the fun bonus of getting to play with the thing during Car Week, because there was still that gap when I still owned the car and the other guy hadn't bought it yet. And I got to tell you, it's a really, really interesting thing. It's still got that bank vault Mercedes kind of drive, but it's fast as hell and makes all the right noises and looks mean. And I will tell you this: any guy who thinks that like he has an exotic car and you're gonna drive around Car Week and like that you're gonna be cool and impressive, like forget about it. I don't care what you bring. You're not that cool. But the one thing I can guarantee you, there was not another Hammer coupe, let alone a wide body one. And everyone went wild. The market of guys willing to pay big dollars for a Hammer beforehand was relatively small. But now that these cars have gotten the amount of visibility that they have, it's now become this thing where guys who previously wouldn't have even given them the time of day, now all of a sudden are interested in the cars. Now that they're expensive, now that they're hot, people want them.